How you guys doing today? This is another episode of the hipturist show. I am your host, JD Smith. And on today's episode titled, The Problem with Your Job, find out why I say the only reason why you have a job is because the employer knows how to make more money than what they pay you. Let's get into it. If you work a job where you earn a hourly wage or get paid a salary, you will never get paid what you're actually worth. That is not possible according to the rules of economics. Let me say it again. If you work a job where you get paid a hourly wage or a salary, you will never get paid what you are actually worth according to the rules of economics, which is the official language of money. Now, let me explain worth. Worth in this context means the amount of value you create equal to the amount of profit the company brings in from your labor. That's what worth means from the standpoint of pure economics. Now, this might sound mean, but it's kind of not. It's just how the rules work. And if you understand the actual rules, then you will have a more information to decide what you want to actually do. Right? So, also, don't believe the fallacy or when someone says, I will never work for less than I'm worth. That is a crazy statement. Those are the words of an individual that does not understand the rules of economics, the rules that govern our system, our world, even our households. Just because you don't know them does not mean the rules do not actually exist. So it's very important that you learn the factual rules of how this works so you can determine your worth. Because if you don't, then somebody else is always going to tell you what you're worth. All right. Now, some people have this idea that it's okay to get paid a decent wage, right? My question is, how do you define what a decent wage is if you do not control how much you even get paid? It is not possible for you to ever determine a decent wage because you do not control the inflow of profit for you. The sad reality is you can't build a company and pay people equally because you have to have profit to expand your business so you can hire a lot more people to do the jobs that you need done. Plus, you have to build wealth for your family. Keep in mind, the only reason why you have a job is because the employer knows how to make more money off of your labor than what they pay you for your time plus energy. And this is just not something that is bound to capitalism. In every economic structure, You will never get paid what you're fully worth because business cannot grow if that happens. You know, nobody controls completely the full economy. It just does not work that way, right? Governments and banks and companies react to certain things. They can sway things in a certain direction to a certain level, but at like a certain point, they have no power to control things. Let's talk about the word profit, right? So, in the context of economics, profit goes like a grade school math word problem, right? So, it goes a little like this: profit is the difference between your labor and the value your employer sells and how much they pay you. So I repeat, profit is what your labor adds and the value your employer sells and how much they pay you, which pretty much states the purpose of business. Now, with that being said, a second math equation that most major companies work on: workers. It's pretty, now this is kind of Grammy. So it's all about get more out of you and give less to you. A lot of these major companies do that to their employees, and that is not right. So that's why if you are bothered by that math equation, then you need to figure out how you can be your own boss, how you can start your own business. And that is something that us at hipturist is going to be creating courses and other business services all about. Because if you do not like these math equations, you need to change them and create your own equations. Now, last but not least, keep in mind, if you do not produce value for your employer, then they have no use for you. All right, let's talk about employment. We are about to enter into some rough economic times. And a lot of us won't have a job once it truly hits hard. So the times we are entering in, economically speaking, is a recession that will turn into a depression. So in a recession, employers can't borrow money to supply you with your job. And also, people can't borrow enough credit to fund your job. So, as I teach here in my hipturist lectures, one person's spending is another person's income. You can't have a job unless somebody spends something with your employer to which they pay you with. If no one is spending, then no one is making an income. And if income is not being made or spending is not being done, then more people lose their jobs because your company will probably downsize so they can do what they call restructuring. And this is how a depression starts. when a lot of us don't have a job because there are no jobs available. Let's talk about this unemployment rate that politicians love to throw around. I find it funny when they say things like unemployment is around 3.6% and it's the lowest in history. They're not necessarily lying, but they're not telling you the whole truth about how unemployment numbers are actually calculated. There are 6 measures of unemployment, but 3 main ones. In this video, I only will be talking about 2. When people quote the unemployment numbers, they are quoting the U3 figures. This is called structural unemployment. Structural unemployment is basically a mismatch in skill and labor. So the jobs that employers have available, there are no workers that have those skills. So they have to find people that have those particular skills. And so in the U3 metric, that's what they calculate. And that's the rate they use. So right now, unemployment, according to the U3 measure, is around 3.6%. So according to that stat, unemployment is pretty low and the lowest in history. The real measure of unemployment is the U6. This is called real employment figures. So this measures 3 key things. Number 1, people who haven't looked for a job. Number 2, people who are classified as discouraged workers who gave up looking for a job. And number 3, the amount of part-time workers who want full-time employment. So keep in mind, they are promising you a job, but they never said anything about a full-time job. Thank you guys very much for tuning in to the Hipturist Show. Once again, I am your host, JD Smith. I would like to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Click the like button, share button, and the notification bell to stay ahead. If you are listening to this show on a podcast, we are available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Apple Music. We are everywhere. It is our mission to give you the proper information about money, culture, and business so you can plan accordingly on what you're going to do and how to live your best life.